The Everything Sequel podcast is brought to you by Tuity Fitness and the Vegas Beer Guys.
The Everything Sequel podcast contains explicit language. You have been forewarned. I'm very excited. This is Shantz here, Michael Shantz. I'm from the How Dare You Awards. Joining me, as always, Tom Stewart, your friend and mine from Lonesome Whistle Productions. Give it to me, Tom.
You don't know what death is! And thus begins Halloween 2.
Yes.
With a scene that also sets in motion one of the motifs of this franchise, which is unexplained running away. Largely Donald Pleasance, but Dr. Daniel, quote, Dan, end quote, Chalice also has a few moments of unexplained running. So maybe it was part of their medical training.
I feel like most of Donald Pleasance's running away has to be just to get him out of the room so Michael doesn't kill him. Because he's got to kill other people.
And that's a really important distinction. Obviously, I understand in the context of a slasher movie why he's running away. There is just nothing in the scene that motivates him running away.
Right.
I assume he maybe forgot his lines and wanted to kind of capitalize on the moment. Sort of a George Costanza going out on a high, I suspect.
That's fantastic. Well, friends and neighbors, Tom and I are here to discuss, for Halloween, the Halloween series.
Yes.
Tom, we are not tackling every single Halloween movie ever made.
Not yet.
Correct. We are breaking this up into parts, are we not?
Yes, absolutely. I think
this was the decision we came to.
We realized, having announced on the show something I don't think we're going to do again, that we will do Halloween this year. Subsequently found out they're not easy to watch for free, and that at least two of the movies will not be out until for months and even years.
Yes.
So we decided to split the franchise in two, and we're going to cover Halloween 2 to Halloween 6. I'm using 6. They, of course, do not use 6.
They do not. You're right.
And everything from H2O onwards, with the possible exception of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I'm still working on my argument for why we won't watch that.
I don't think you need an argument. I don't think we can.
Why? What happens if we watch it? Does something happen to the world?
No, the world won't implode or anything. But based on the rules we've set up, the first movie is a remake. It's a clear remake reboot of the first movie, so it's the first in a series.
Yes,
and that means that the sequel for that is a single sequel. So we would have to, under our rules, I don't think...
Well, that's better than what I had, so I'm really grateful to you. And yes, and by that time we will have, providing we don't have another... I say another pandemic. Providing we get out of this pandemic and don't have another pandemic...
Right.
We will have Halloween Ends, I believe, to talk about.
Yes.
Which is so we're going to be able to talk about Halloween in its temporal totality, shall I say?
There you go.
I don't ever want to write off this franchise. I think they will keep making Halloween movies. I mean, not even when they're unprofitable. I think until the rights have run out. That's got to be the only benchmark, right? Until you legally can't make them anymore.
Right. I mean, think about it. of the three major villains, Michael, Jason, Freddy,
Yes.
Michael's the only one that still currently seems viable.
Yes.
He's
Yeah,
the only one-
he's won
He's
the
the
media
only one
war.
still getting movies. Yeah, exactly.
He's definitely he's keeping well, this is a very strange overall question, but something I've always wondered and somehow never looked up. Does William Shatner get royalties every time the mask is used?
I've never seen anything to intimate that he does. Also, it would only have been for the first two movies, because then they started making their own masks.
Listen, we got to talk about this. I don't know what's going on with these masks when they're not on screen.
Well,
There are some serious preservation issues around these masks.
Yes, absolutely. And
the
also,
drop off from 1 to 2 to start with is
alarming.
Is really alarming. I mean, it's like the Yoda puppet. You know, by Return of the Jedi, one of its eyes is falling out. But that's nothing compared to what's happening here. I think when they melt Michael at the end of Halloween 2, spoilers, it's just a necessity to get that mask out of the way.
Yeah.
I think they were doing that anyway, and they were like, let's put it on screen.
Okay, but also, let's talk about this. Okay, so we've already, dear listeners, we've told you our plan. We're here to talk about Halloweens 2 through 6. And this episode, of course, we're starting the series, so of course we are here to both rank and declare.
Yes.
I am curious, Tom. This series, to me, is different than any other series that we've ever done based on what you use as criteria to rank and declare. And isn't the mask part of it?
Oh, you do like a mask watch.
Like
through the
quality
movies.
of mask. Is that
is that your barometer for how well the movie's doing?
I'm asking, do you
No.
give that any consideration?
No, if I went with that, then I would have a very different ranking than the one I have.
Oh, interesting.
Often my rankings are in spite of the mask, but I like the fact that you're taking the opposite approach.
The mask's really important to me. At the end of the day, I don't know that it changes my mind about movies.
Right.
But I just think it's interesting that that's for, I know that for the fans of this series, it's a big important thing.
Yeah. It's not unimportant, but I find that I found that when I was watching the movies, what I would say generally about the movies was not reflected in the quality of mask keeping that is demonstrated by the people working behind the scenes.
Okay.
The mask often feels like an afterthought. Like they sort of like take it out of the shop the night before they start filming. Right? And probably the night before they start filming the Michael scenes. So probably well into filming. That's my feeling.
All right. Well, I was curious as to whether or not it pulled any weight with you.
Well, one of these movies doesn't have a mask in it, so that causes a
That's
bit
true.
of a problem.
Well,
or
it has-
Michael, for that matter.
It has multiple masks, just not a Michael Myers mask.
One thing you can say about Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, the masks are on point.
That's one more thing we should discuss. We've already done Halloween 3.
Have we ever
Season
had
of
a
the
more
Witch.
problematic series to explore?
Right?
Yeah, with the fact that we have already covered one of these movies.
And we're going to do so again, correct?
At your insistence.
We're not going to refer people back to that episode. We have to talk about it in context of these other movies, don't we?
Not necessarily, but I like that I was forced to do that
Okay.
by you.
So you were ready to just not talk about it.
Yes, but I'm glad that we're recovering it. I'm glad we're relitigating Halloween 3
Okay.
because I have a lot more to say about it.
Oh,
I didn't think I
fantastic.
would, but I do. But yeah, so we treated it originally as a single sequel, which is entirely appropriate given that it does not even exist in the same fictional universe as the rest
As
of these movies.
yeah, exactly.
But looking at
And
it
we know that
as a
because the first Halloween is on television sets in this movie.
right, big giveaway.
Yeah.
However, something happens when you look at this as part of the series that is really interesting.
Okay.
So I begrudgingly concur with your decision.
I got to tell you because it wasn't something I was adamant about. I wasn't like, yeah, we have to do this. Which it seems to be how you're framing it because it was the movie I was resisting to watch the most because I had to pay for it. And I'm like, I just fucking watched this movie like a few months ago.
Yeah.
So, but paid for it I did and
Me
watched
too.
it I did and here we are.
Yeah.
All right. As I stated, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to rank and declare on these movies. Let's get to it. Tom,
Mm.
easy or hard?
Neither.
What the fuck?
Well, neither and both.
Uh-huh.
So the easy part was I was actually grateful that we have this format because it allowed me to quantify my optimism for these movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have such affection for all of the movies in this part of the series,
Yeah. Me too.
and you know, so this helped me kind of put all that positivity and overall good feeling in some kind of context.
Right. And well, let me cat out of the bag. I know you and I have talked about this, but
Yeah.
this is one of my favorite horror series ever. And Michael Myers himself is my favorite horror villain.
And he's also a recurring nightmare of yours.
He is. Yeah. I occasionally get chased by Michael Myers in my dreams. And then I wake up and I say, "Oh, that was a good one."
Oh, so it's not a nightmare. It's just like
Well, it's genuinely scary.
it's a preferred dream.
It's frightening. But I don't.
Do you pick your
Begrudge
dreams
them.
like it's Netflix?
Yeah,
Like,
basically.
I want this kind of nightmare tonight.
I dream very vivid. And so
Oh, interesting.
I dream vividly. And I mean, if I'm eating an orange, I can smell orange in my dream. If Michael Myers is chasing. Why is that so funny?
Because, well, partly because it was not it was
Unexpected?
it was an unexpected metaphor, and I misunderstood it completely because I thought you were saying that you fall asleep eating an orange, like with it in your hand, half in your mouth.
I take an orange to bed
And
every
it
night.
knocks you out, and then you dream about like people, oranges on legs for 10 hours. But that's not what you meant, is it?
No. No.
That one's on me.
Oh, fuck. Woo. Wow, that got me.
Just like your bedside table has got one of those squeezers next to it. You just chop it, give it a squeeze, straight in the mouth, out like a light.
Done. Oh my god.
Anyway,
That was good. At any rate, I love this series. I always have. Shout out to friend of the show, Pam Flora, who hates that I used to scare her with the Michael Myers mask.
I currently own a Michael Myers mask,
Yeah,
as I think we've seen on some of the watch-alongs.
me too.
Okay.
So
We should have just, because this is audio only, we should have just said we were wearing them.
I know, right?
We've blown that, haven't we?
We fucked that up. But But this has been long one of my favorite characters and the mythology surrounding him. I just love everything about the Halloween series.
Oh,
And so
that speaks very well of you. I am willing to put it this way. I'm willing to put up with a lot of shit with this series.
oh, and you have to.
And I have no choice.
Oh, yeah.
If I want to make it to the end.
Right.
The hard part that I alluded to previously was really not about the series at all, but going back to an older question that I've wrestled with in doing this podcast, which is, do I value movies that have outstanding moments but are inconsistent?
Yes.
Or do I value a movie that is completely solid but also unspectacular?
Uh-huh.
So my rankings kind of wrestled with that question, I would say. But
Well, you're hitting the nail on the head for me too, because that's those were the problems I had.
oh, interesting.
I mean, almost to a T.
Okay, good. All right.
But I also rediscovered some things in this watch.
Interesting.
I thought of the movies, one in particular, differently than I ever thought of it before. Which was interesting to me.
I wish I could say the same. Although I have seen a lot of these movies fairly recently.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, it was more about you know, a gradient. You know, this was a real gradient of like the very bottom I don't mind, the very top I love. You know, it's that kind of, and everything
right,
everything is just like different watermarks in between.
Okay.
There's no, which is not to say that if you remove that bias that we both seem to have, that you're welcome to have issues with these movies.
Of
and
course,
you should.
yes.
And you should.
Yes.
But something holds me back from, you know, the most vociferous condemnation of even the worst elements of them. Trying to be as vague as possible, not mention a specific movie here, but it's interesting. It's an interesting dilemma, because I spend my time thinking, what's holding me back from really truly disliking this? You know, on a level that we've seen with other movies that are equally bad.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
And I don't have an answer. That's one I'm going to be wondering.
Yeah.
I'm hoping
posing
you
the
do
question.
because I really don't.
Right. Okay,
But then there's also real highs here too. I don't want to caricature these movies. I mean,
mm-hmm.
there is some real cinematic high points in this series that cannot be ignored.
Agreed. All right. I think the big question is, Tom Stewart
Yeah.
of Lonesome Whistle Productions.
Yes.
Is Halloween 3 at the top of your list?
Well, we could be on Jeopardy right now.
Is the non-Michael Myers movie your favorite?
We could be on Jeopardy right now, and not just because it's hosted by white guys who should probably be fired. But because we have a returning champion.
Wow!
Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, remains the top of my list as it did for the 1982 single sequels. And this was not an easy decision for me to make. I was perfectly prepared.
At least there's that.
I was perfectly prepared to put it lower in the rankings because we were looking at it as a Halloween sequel.
Tom.
And then,
this is a tragedy.
And then about halfway through Halloween 2, they started talking about Samhain and witchcraft, and I was like, "Oh fuck it, I'm putting it at the top of the list." Because my operational theory is that this whole series falls apart with that Halloween 3 as the bridge between 2 and 4. Because thematically, conceptually, everything is so interwoven. It dovetails so beautifully in every aspect other than seriality. Added to the fact that an original, brilliant movie in its own right, and it's executed extremely well from start to finish. I can't hold it back from top just because there's no Michael Myers in it, or it's not telling a story of Halloween. No, but I did wrestle with that. I absolutely did.
God damn it. God damn it.
I realized that if you were going to sort of do a Godfather saga type version of the Halloween movies, you would probably start Halloween 3 just after Donald Pleasance's Dr. Loomis's monologue about Samhain. It would kind of fade out. You'd play the whole of Halloween 3
fade
and then fade back in to him still in the car.
Into the computer credits of Halloween 3?
Believe me, it would work. And also the fact that...
What a heap of disrespect to Michael Myers, though.
But even the fact that the last movie the last movie that we're doing this series also harks back to Halloween 3. I mean, I can't ignore that. It's a linchpin in this series.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I knew you'd be disappointed.
All right. Can I ask what movie might have replaced it?
Well, 2 potentially.
Really?
I mean, 2 movies potentially.
Yeah, right.
Not Halloween 2. Although maybe Halloween 2.
All right.
I can't be clearer than that.
Jesus. All right.
So what's top of your list?
I really wrestled with the top of my list. And here's where I came out.
Yeah.
At the top of my list is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
Again, that speaks well of you. I'm on board.
I fucking love that movie.
With good reason.
Yeah. But, to your point, there is some unevenness. And
in Halloween 4?
Yeah.
No, I disagree. I think that's the one that I think is completely solid from start to finish.
No, well, my quibbles are minor. Like, for instance, him throwing Donald Pleasance through a window with a blonde wig on top of his Michael Myers hair instead of brown. Things like that.
Right, okay.
You're going to have to give me that.
And also if
and
you
aside from that,
going by
there's
Mass
just,
Watch, it's not a good
it's
not
literally
a good Mass movie.
Just that and a couple of bad edits.
Uh-huh.
But that's it.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I think that movie is fucking solid. You're right.
I completely agree with that.
Okay.
However,
not your second?
No, my second, no.
Okay.
But very, very close.
Wow.
I mean, I might as well give it away now. Is I was torn between Halloween 2, which I eventually went for,
okay,
and Halloween 4. But
well, then I'll let it out of the bag. I desperately wrestled with the top of my list being either Halloween 4 or Halloween 2.
Yeah.
And I went 4, and 2 is my second.
So we're the mirror image of each other.
Yeah.
Because you rewarded the movie that was more, it was like a well-crafted movie.
Well-crafted and took the biggest swing.
I don't know about that. And the people who made the next couple of movies would disagree with that too.
What?
But
okay, I'm saying the biggest swing within the context of Michael Myers himself, for one. So I'm not talking about a big swing of Halloween 3, which is, of course, the biggest swing of doing something completely different.
Except for 5 and 6, yeah.
I don't.
And
I don't know
Halloween 2. And
well, all
sort
right.
of,
We'll
sort
get,
of every
we'll,
movie in the series.
we'll get into all of
except
this
4.
later. I'm gonna stop talking, but you're wrong, but that's fine.
Okay. I don't see what the big swing is in Halloween 4.
What the fuck is the matter with you?
It's safe as houses, except the house that they're protecting in the movie.
Get out of here. I'm gonna save.
That's
it
what
for
I
the
like
episode.
about it. That's what I respect.
I'm gonna save it for the episode.
That's what I like and respect about it, and why it was nearly my number 2.
Okay.
Was because it was back to basics.
Mm-hmm.
In as in a way that never blows you away, but is so solidly executed throughout that it wins you over, even though what it's doing is bordering on the sort of remake come sequel territory.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But Halloween 2.
We'll get to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Halloween 2, my second, and your second. Do I have that right?
Yes.
Okay.
I forgot that I went mad. and put Halloween 3 at the top. Yes. Halloween 2, which has so many outstanding moments.
It's great. I really, and it had.
But they cannot sustain it.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, if I was if this would be the top of any list if it was judging it on like the first third of the movie.
Okay, all right.
But it peters out so much to the point where it's almost moving in slow motion at one point. It feels like.
Okay, so I have so many things to say on that subject, and that was my big takeaway on this particular watch. And actually, it was one of the reasons why I ranked it so high. But I think I'm going to save it for the episode itself.
Yeah, but just to say, I think in fits and bursts, it's definitely the best content in the franchise.
That I agree with, and that's why it was so close to the top of my list.
Like, I'd go as far as to say on a par with, and almost feels like an extension of the original movie. When it peaks.
Well, yes, and also it has the benefit of feeling like the original in look and scope, and
yeah,
it feels literally. It starts where the first one left off, and it feels like an extension of that first movie.
Yeah. That might also have something to do with the fact that John Carpenter did 3 days of reshoots on the movie.
Correct.
And many of the scenes we're talking about were actually directed by John Carpenter. In addition to him writing and editing the movie. Right. And scoring it. Poor Rick Rosenthal. I feel sorry for the man.
All right. Can I assume 4 is your third then?
Yeah, absolutely. For the reasons I just talked about. Start to finish, it is overall the most consistent and well executed of the movies.
Well,
which I mean, and there are outstanding things about it. I mean, we're going to talk a lot about Jamie Lloyd, but
right,
it's one of the most outstanding child performances I've ever seen in any movie.
Me too.
And actually, in both 4 and 5, the quality of the movies doesn't impact her performance.
No. What she's being asked to do in 5 is a little more ridiculous.
Yeah, but... she never broke out, but it's a breakout role.
Yeah.
Which is really hard to fathom, given that I'm like, this is the best child acting I have ever seen.
When you think of the actual performance.
Like,
yeah. She should be in our lives every day.
It's crazy.
And
So
I
which
mean,
is
she
not-
does
not to say
reappear
there
in
is-
the series.
Yeah.
She's in Rob Zombie's.
I know.
And
And that's
you know.
part. Her. I was gonna say abuse in those movies. I still haven't recovered from.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. All right, I'm about to make you happy.
Oh, I see. Is this one of your rediscoveries that Halloween 3 is good and you and Matt were wrong?
Third on my list, I'm going Halloween 3.
Yeah.
But it was, again, very difficult decision. I had my 1 and 2. I have my 3 and 4. I know what's at the bottom of my list. But I could easily have switched 2 for 1 or 4 for 3. Like 3 and 4 aren't going up to 1 and 2 for me, but I could switch 3 and 4 with each other. But at the end
I
of
wish
the
I
day,
knew what you. I wish I knew what you were talking about. both in real terms and in the context of Halloween 3. No, I mean, again, my affection for these movies absolves all stylistic sins, it seems, but
well, and I have a caveat to this too.
okay.
So I'll let this out
This
of the
is
bag
like a really
now.
complicated contract I'm trying to read.
It is. It
The
really
party of the
is.
first part shall be known as...
Well, look, because we're doing 5 movies,
Yes.
but there are actually 6 movies.
Oh no. You're not gonna bring up the...
I am.
Oh, for God's sake. I thought we
So-
settled this.
I'm just saying. I watched it.
Oh no, you didn't watch it.
I did.
Wow.
Now,
okay.
I can't talk about it it can't affect my rankings because
People don't. Can you? We should probably fill the
Yes, we should.
the
All right.
listeners in.
Ladies and gentlemen, this series has for Michael Myers, for Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers,
Mm-hmm.
also known as, that's the actual official title, but that's the 6th movie. There is also a producer's cut of Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. That is a vastly different movie.
Right.
That vastly different movie I would put ahead of Halloween 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I probably should watch it then.
It's that fucking great. It's so much better. But as it stands, I'm putting Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, at number 3, and Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers right after that.
That sentence was full of surprises for me.
Which means Halloween 5 goes at the bottom of my list.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know where to begin with that.
For starters, that I'm right.
No. I didn't. It's strange. Like, for two people who love these series, we love them in very different ways. Our love languages are very different. You're like gift giving, and I acts of service. Oh, okay. So next, so Halloween 4, and yeah,
4,
Halloween
2,
So
3, 6, 5.
that's you.
That's my list.
Okay, so I'm 3, 2, 4, and then I go 5.
Wow.
I mean, talk about big swings.
Why?
Because I have to give credit to the fact that they were not willing to play it safe. And they brought a director on board specifically.
Who doesn't know how to direct?
I'm going to follow up with that. But
I figured it out. I know why.
no. Don't before you before you take the air out of my explanation, listen. So he was Dominique Othanine Gerard was specifically brought on board
To make a bad movie.
to fuck things up.
Well, he did that.
He and many people around him thought that Halloween 4 was playing it too safe. And so he was there specifically to take risks. Now, a number of those risks he took stylistically in the movie do not pay off. I am perfectly willing to accept that.
Okay.
But he was also hamstrung by, they wanted him to be an auteur on this movie.
He was hamstrung by a lack of talent.
He was, no, well, we'll have that conversation. But he was also hamstrung by the fact that they said, go out there and do whatever you want. Oh, by the way, here are 2 things you have to do our way. 2 big things.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was doomed to failure. But I appreciate the approach and some of the execution. A lot of it doesn't pay off, but I definitely don't think it's bottom of the pile.
I do.
Okay.
I'll tell you why you like that movie. You have already previously announced on the podcast that you're a huge fan of Hallmark movies. And this movie is the Hallmark version of a Halloween movie.
See, I would say 4 is closer to that.
No. I'm talking in quality.
Hey, who says I like this movie? It's second to last on my list. Wait until you're asked, okay? Yeah, and that puts,
That puts 6 at the bottom.
with great regret, puts Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers at the bottom of the list. I can't get over how incomprehensible this movie is. It feels like an archaeological reconstruction
I know, that's what I
of a
like
movie.
about it.
It feels like an archaeologist has tried to make a movie out of several pieces
I know.
of a movie.
I love it.
Yet, and I don't know why. Maybe you can fill me in here. It is so watchable.
Yes.
But I can't ignore that I don't know what's going on or why it's happening or what anyone's doing. That's not a pleasurable feeling for me.
See,
watching
it's so funny
this
you say
kind of
that.
movie. But
It's so funny you say that because
I can watch it.
You're going to go ahead and watch the producer's cut.
Once you give me $3.99 to watch it, yeah.
So, to me, I was always able to intimate,
Yeah.
after having watched the producer's cut, I realized that I was filling in gaps by myself
Yes.
that aren't there in the actual movie.
That's
that are
so
there in the
funny because
producer's
that's
cut.
exactly how I justified it to myself. I'm like, well, they're probably doing this,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the green blood is, but they're probably involved in something like this. But the producer's cut answers those questions.
I don't know that it answers about things about green blood, but everything else.
So it doesn't answer my questions, but
Your
it answers your questions.
Singular. All you mentioned was green blood so far. I'm not sure if I can remember that it answers that particular question, but
So Michael is not
But
a
it-
Vulcan.
actually, kind of like
No,
they-
don't tell. He's an alien.
no, he's not an alien.
Okay.
But it dives deeper into the runes and that kind of shit.
I mean,
The stuff that you
Could you
have
di-
questions
could
about
you
and don't
dive-
understand at all.
could you dive shallower than they do in The Curse of Michael Myers into that? I mean, you'd literally hit your head on the bottom of the pool if you were in a shallower water.
Oh, that's fucking funny.
Wow.
All
well,
right.
I'm fascinated but I'm glad we both see the good in this monstrosity.
Yeah.
And you have to say, it's a movie that I was going to say it's not working on all cylinders. It's not working on any cylinders. The cylinders have rusted.
Yeah, no, they've rotted out.
it's just like gas and air firing randomly.
Well, but you spoke to the idea of, maybe something that's uneven, but that you find pockets and things that you like within the movie. And for me, in 6, there are more of those that I like than there are in 5.
I'd tip the balance the other way. I wouldn't say you're necessarily wrong, but there's
Because
more.
I'm not.
There's more. there's more specifics. Actual material things that I like about 5 than I do about 6. But I find both of them incredibly watchable and have great fondness for both of them in their own ways.
All right, so here's the question.
Hmm.
Are you, for a second series in a row, going to find all of these movies good? Not second series in a row. I guess we've had but you famously declared all Twilight movies as good.
Interesting use of the word famously, but I'll let it go.
Famously between the two of us.
Yeah. If fame can be entirely between two people, then yes.
How do you? So, I mean, do you want to just go from top to bottom, or can you blanket describe all these movies as good?
No.
Okay.
Can you?
No.
Okay, good. I mean, bad. I mean, I don't know.
But I absolutely will officially declare Halloween 4 as a good movie. Top of my list.
And I will do the same with Halloween 3. And if you were betting against that, I apologize for all the money you have lost.
You placed an unwise bet. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
If you thought Tom Stewart was going to switch to Halloween 3 being bad, you're out of your fucking mind.
That horse was already in the glue factory before that bet was placed. Yeah, obviously still a good movie.
What about Halloween 2? That's second on both our lists. I'm officially declaring that a good movie.
So am I. Right. And I would go as far as saying, at times, a great movie.
Yeah, me too. I am struggling. I think I might have switched.
With Halloween 3?
Yeah.
You better have. I mean... I'm interested to talk to just you about this.
Uh-huh.
I feel like there was a... I mean... You had a devil on your shoulder when we last talked about this. In the shape of our special guest.
Well, and I think...
Who really disliked it.
He really disliked it. I liked I didn't hate that movie, but I declared it a bad movie.
You did.
I don't know if it was watching it out of context, just on its own, with these other movies. How delighted I was to end up liking Piranha 2.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, that affects everything.
So,
yeah, you can only reclaim one bad movie per episode as better than you think it is.
Yeah.
Before it all goes to shit.
And I still have the same problems. I think I had.
Those 1982 problems aren't going away, Mike.
Right. So the 1982 problems stand pat. But you know what I saw this time? I saw a lot more John Carpenter in Halloween 3 this time. and it's like I enjoyed it just enough to declare it a good movie.
Hooray.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I'm going good.
Excellent. Happy to hear it.
You must be so pleased.
What took you so long? No, I am very pleased. I am very pleased, and yeah, I think it's interesting that when you think of it less as a 1982 movie, it becomes a better movie, because I think that's exactly last time we were focusing on the historicity of it,
Mm-hmm.
and that really does change you know, a good movie into a criminal movie.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
But, you know, because awful things are happening all the time to everyone in Halloween movies, it kind of that
Right.
sense of like,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
in Halloween 3 people are getting raped and we're not talking about it. But it's like, well, you know, in Halloween 6, I think a rape happens. I think an incestual rape happens. Again,
Mhm.
not sure. Maybe the producers club will clear that up for me.
It will.
Okay. So, you know, it does. In a way, it almost comes off as kind of quaint and old timey, right? At times.
At times. Oh man. That's funny. All right. So now you have listed 5, then 6 is at the bottom of your list.
Yeah.
But you also intimated that you don't seem to be saying 5's a good movie. So can I assume that you are saying both 5 and 6 are bad?
I have to. They force my hand.
Yeah.
But that
For me as well. For me as well.
doesn't mean I wouldn't sit down and watch them right now.
Exactly. Tom, I watched Halloween 6 3 times.
What? There's only 2 versions of the movie. Unless,
No,
don't tell me there's another version of this movie.
there is. Well, sort of.
What?
I thought I was going to be watching the producer's cut on some channel I don't even remember, Tubi or something like that.
Ah.
And I saw cuts that were different. You know, the nurse that's murdered at the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
In this version, they do not show her head getting impaled on a spike.
Okay.
It's just Michael walking up out of the shadow, cut, go to Jamie climbing out of the contraption. So I thought
That's not Michael being vague. That's the movie.
that's the movie being vague. Yeah.
Contraption
thought-
is a more detailed description of what's going on.
At any rate, I thought I was watching the producer's cut because I saw something different. I think it was just edited for violence sake.
Yeah.
And it was
sounds like
basically the same movie, and I ended up watching it twice. And literally last night at 11:30, I found that Prime had it for $3.99. I stayed up until like 1 o'clock watching the producer's cut of this movie. For you.
Don't rope me into this. I specifically said don't watch that producer's cut. There's text messages of me saying, no, let's not watch that.
No, you
That's
said,
off your own back.
I think you said, I don't know about the producer's cut.
Yeah.
That's not a definitive no.
Oh, God. Right, well.
So
You have to watch Halloween 5 another 2 times before we speak about it.
I'm probably going to have to watch it one more time now,
Yeah.
since you're putting it above 6, which I
But
find
do you
silly.
think would you say 6 is a good movie?
No,
And you're definitely not saying 5 is.
no, yeah. They're both not good.
Again,
bad,
we come to the
like
same
you said,
decision from entirely different ends.
Yeah, I would sit down and watch them right now.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? I watched both 5 and 6 a year ago at Halloween.
Me too.
And I had not seen them in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I remember thinking, what's everybody's problem? Both of those movies were pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, I super enjoyed them.
But that's
around for
Did you
whatever
watch
reason.
them back to back?
Yeah, I think so.
Because that should make it worse.
I know.
Because one asks questions the other one refuses to answer.
I know.
And yet somehow watching them back to back, again, I had the same feeling of like, what's the big deal? You know?
Yeah.
It's like, we knew this wasn't going to go any... Anyone with an ounce of intelligence knows they don't know the answers to these questions. So why on earth would you expect a movie that resolved them if they don't know the answers to the questions?
Yeah.
You know, it's like an early example of J.J. Abrams' filmmaking art. You just go in, you promise a lot, and you answer nothing.
Right. Well, they got that in spades.
So, it's, it's quite a thing. It's quite a series.
It really is.
I don't think we're going to get another one like this ever in the history of cinema. Certainly not in the history of horror cinema.
And I'm excited to talk about Halloween 2 next.
Me too. Me Halloween 2.
All right. Anything left?
No. I feel. I mean, maybe it's just the kind of the intense heat in this closet, but I feel like I've been in a Turkish bath, like
right,
just talking about these movies. That toxins are coming out of me.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, we're gonna have to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
We have different rankings, but as I'm recalling, we both think 2, 3, and 4 are good. 5 and 6 are bad.
Yes, that is that will be the takeaway from this episode.
All right.
You should probably put a time code in this episode. It's like, if you want like a succinct summary of this episode, here's where it comes.
Done and done. All right, ladies and gentlemen, how do you rank these movies? I want to know. I want you to declare each movie as good or bad. If you're a fan of the Everything Sequel podcast, please rank Halloweens 2 through 6, or declare them, I should say, good or bad. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Please, by all means, send us an email to everythingsequel@gmail.com. For Tom Stewart of Lonesome Whistle Productions, I am Michael Shantz. I'm from the How Dare You Awards. Say goodbye, Tom.
I bet she wears crotchless panties and barks like a dog.
How did I know that was going to be making its way?
Well, Barry Sims, that famous mid-90s shock jock we all know.
Oh, man.
That we've all heard of. Who isn't Howard Stern.
Who is not Howard Stern, but that's how you know that movie came out when it did.
Like I said, it's an archaeological reconstruction
really
of a movie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Halloween 2 coming at you next.
Hooray for Halloween.
Hooray for Halloween. Does the coronavirus have you feeling oogie? Have you been sitting on your couch for weeks? Nay, have you been sitting on there for months? Well, it's time for you to get back in shape. Check out 2AT Fitness. You can find them on Instagram. You can find them on Facebook. 2AT Fitness was started by Tina Bernard. She is ready and raring to go to help you get back into the shape you want to get into. They've got all kinds of classes. They've got outdoor in-person classes. They've got online classes if that's what you prefer. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get back in shape. You're going to find a variety of exercises. You're going to have strength training, cardio, weightlifting, even fun 5-minute burnouts that will push you to your limits. So get off the couch, get into shape. Go ahead and check out 2AT Fitness. Tina Bernard has got you for all your needs. I know her personally. She's fantastic. You're not going to meet a better person to help you become the new you. Check it out.
I like to think I know something about beer, but nowadays even I get overwhelmed when confronted by the exhaustive selection of craft beers they have at bars, breweries, and even grocery stores. Back in the day you had one, maybe two craft beers to choose from, and if you were confused, you ordered a Guinness. But in beerstinations like San Diego, the craft beer options lately are in double, sometimes even triple digits. So what's a beer drinker to do? You need what I need, the Vegas Beer Guys. Your beer of choice should be a perfect blend of malt and hops. And so a live show about beer needs that same balance. And the Vegas Beer Guys matches beer expert Dan Aker with self-proclaimed beer novice Stephen J. Weiss. The results are eminently drinkable. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. They'll try new beers, they'll tell you about beer. Think of them as your beer Sherpas guiding you up a foamy-headed mountain to reach the peak of your pint. God, I need a beer.